the storm this year really took its toll.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much to do when we first came out here. This is, we're surrounded by all the state game area, 960 acres.
Yeah.
So this 80 acres that the last family had was the bridge between the two sections.
Okay.
So they really wanted this bad. So when we did negotiate, we have 26 acres, which is that tree line there. And then the tree line behind us, and that's where the ditch comes around. And that's actually the Huron County line. So right at,
Oh, okay.
at the other side of the ditch is Huron County.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And Huron County Line Road does not run all the way through because it's so swampy right here.
Yeah.
And there's a little section back here called Mud Lake.
Okay.
And there's an aerial view of it in the Welcome Center. That's still in there, or is that in the powerhouse? Powerhouse. And for hunting, it's great for duck hunting. And we've added these buildings. The first one you see here is our sugar shack. We actually don't make maple syrup here because we're too late in the season for our fall event.
Right.
You want to stop, Curtis? And then where they can tell the story without having to go in if they don't want to.
Right.
And then the cider mill, this was an old, kind of like a storage building that we retrofitted, and so we have the cider press, the huge cider press in there that we can do.
Okay.
And then the grain elevator, this L-shaped, was added on with a unanimous donation. Anonymous, I thought that isn't right. Donation that we got from a family. And this building is pieces. This original piece was a wooden building that we have put the steel on that came from the Cassidy building that was torn down. So we repurposed the steel. And then we built that back part, the taller part, to the elevator so we could get our legs in there. And we have huge, if you want to go in any of these buildings, Curtis has keys.
Okay.
And then around the corner, we've got these handicap accessible.
Yeah.
They're all on stilts. You can see our buildings. None of them have foundations because, again, we're on wetlands.
Right.
So this is a round storage crib that is very unique. There's a lot of them that are not round. So this is over by the Richville area. This came from a farm. They actually went months before they moved it here. They moved it on a lowboy. That's really, how farmers can be so creative. They had actually used this as a school, and then the Historical Society had turned it into a building that they used for teaching, about one-room schools. Well, then Medallion Village, which is an adult foster care home, bought the property. Well, they didn't want it or need it, and so they donated it to us.
Okay.
But by the time we got done, we put that isn't an actual rock. That's one of those facades that you put over. So we put the foundation down, put the facade on it, and we moved it. And with moving lines, because it's so tall, Detroit Edison was in, and Anthus Brothers from Gagetown that does all the moving of buildings. His sister's actually our treasurer. And so he gave us a real deal to move it. But by the time we got done with everything, it was $25,000. So our free building. But this has been a godsend because with us having a 501c3 status, part of that is education. A museum automatically educates, but then with this, it's an additional tool that talks about the time that this homestead was built in the 20s and 30s. This is the type of education that was offered, and the kids love it. Actually love it. And then this building, our concept was to make a village. So when we set this here, then it was to continue on. This was going to be our general store. I can tell you that we had close to 200 volunteers for school tours. I know during Fall Family Days we have over 400 people that come in a 3-day period. It's really hard to gauge because people come in quietly and don't expect any recognition for what they do. we do host a volunteer picnic that has shown us, when they all get together in one room, how extensive it is and how many people are actually here. I often have people say to me, well, you know, I helped during Fall Families Days, you saw me. And I'm like, well, we have 15,000 people on site over the 3-day period. And I'm sorry, I don't always see all the volunteers and what they're doing, because there's so much going on here.
Mm-hmm.
The cost to run this thing, our budget this year is about $179,000. We're putting on a new roof. Besides the regular activities we have, there's all kinds of maintenance going on. Last year we replaced all the windows in the barn. So there's something that keeps us busy, whether it's the activities that we host, like our school tours. We just recently had 1,426 kids come through.
Mm-hmm.
And so that takes a lot of time to prepare for that, and a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And we host some other fun things, like the tea party in June for the ladies. We have weddings here during the year too,
Mm-hmm.
that are fun, and it's real exciting to see the young people, sharing their vows here and starting a family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is definitely a grassroots project. They're all volunteers, no one's been paid, and it's all a passion. There's so much here. People coming together. We've partnered with several groups like the Two Cylinder Club, 4-H groups, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We've had so many groups come together to help us that we couldn't do it without them. It's just, again, more than just the buildings. It's people, and our official name is the Friends of the Thumb Octagon Barn, and all these people have become our friends. We're like family.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked, they're a new volunteer, and they said, well, how long is my term? And I said, well, we really don't have terms other than officers on the board, but most of us say until death do you part. And that's the way a lot of it's been happening, is that we have a lot of members, unfortunately, that we're losing, that are passing due to age.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, we're going to their funerals and we're participating in their family events. They've become our friends. It's just been a great opportunity for community, for those of us on the project, and now bringing out the young people through our school tours and through our Fall Family Day events. A young person like yourself being here as a young person and coming back and enjoying it as an adult and really enjoying what it's all about, and the historical significance of this unique site that is nowhere else that we've discovered.
Mm-hmm.
It is very unique.
And you mentioned community a lot. This is a community project and should be enjoyed by the community. How can the community become more appreciative, and why does the community need to, and I say need because I think that's a perfect word to describe it, why is this important, this establishment? I guess I'm asking.
Well, the need is here. We always are looking for new volunteers. The project is growing. We cannot keep it just stagnant. That's why we change our theme every year. We want it to be new and exciting, but it's important to teach how we were brought up in this agricultural community. Not only how they lived and worked so hard just to get through the day-to-day activities, but caring for animals, caring for each other. There is a lot of neighboring. That's a term that we often use, where people visited each other and cared for each other. When times were tough, they would help on the farm. There's many times when a farmer would be injured and they all came together to help harvest the crop. We don't see that in today's world. There's not that opportunity. And to share that with our young people, something as simple as how a cow is milked. Where do we get our milk from? Our crops. We demonstrate different field crops. Picking potatoes has been a fun event. The kids love to go out in the field and get their toes, the dirt in their toes, and pick that up from the ground that they just saw harvested with a machine. It's just a really unique experience, and we want that to continue, so that legacy of agricultural, rural life is different than we're experiencing now.
Do you think that it can really help people with their identity in this area if they can go back to their roots and how their ancestors would have done the work, and to fully appreciate then what they're doing now and the practice they're doing now?
Well, and that's what we're trying to teach, is the heritage of living in a rural community and all that means. It's just more than, it's forming together as community, and this project tells it all. Often when I go to different events, they'll say, how do you get all these people to come? I said, it's a passion, it's a love. You can tell the people that are here, they're doing the work because they want to be here, they're enjoying it, they're having fun. They see, just like having our kids, what the main focus is to make sure the kids are having fun during school tours, that they're learning and experiencing. Even though there's a lot of adults with them, let the adults go, focus on the kids. That's why we're here, to educate.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add about the museum or the events and the history leading up to this point?
We're very fortunate in that we've been able to gather history from Mrs. Purdy keeping her diaries from years ago, to the group being sure that we're getting and cataloging all the stories of the people that lived here, that have worked here, or have enjoyed it, come out and when they had the riding stables, took lessons, whatever it may be. A lot of the community members have had experiences here, which again is very unique because most farms were isolated, individuals or families alone. But this has always been more than that. This is pretty. They had church meetings out here. Their daughters taught piano lessons. They were part of the community as a banker. They were involved in people's lives. So that's what this has become. It's more than just a simple farmstead. It's a way of life with the power generator that's out here, with having a garage in that day, having electricity in the house, water in the barn. There's so many unique things that weren't happening. And so we're trying to tell how life was lived and what that heritage meant as a family, to keep that strong family ties.
Wonderful.